Welcome to my presentation for my paper. It goes along with that, my multimedia. Um, my paper is on the Suppressors versus the NFA, the National Firearms Act. So pretty much throughout this presentation, I'm just going to be talking about the reasons why suppressors were added. I'm going to talk a little about the NFA and the history of the NFA. And I'm going to talk about more of the recent upcomings with suppressors and the NFA and the groups that are trying to make suppressors no longer part of the NFA. So the National Firearms Act was created in 1934 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, also known as FDR. This act made it so any firearm produced and had to be transfer registered with the federal government. Back then in 1934, it didn't necessarily have to be registered because in like the 80s you were still able to order guns out of a Sears catalog, so I don't think you had to have it registered, but yeah, it had to be in some sort of uh, database. Maybe not like registered to you, but the federal government had to know that gun was out there. Along with this, it created some rules with firearms, such as who and who cannot own them, whether you had a felony or domestic abuse charge of any degree. Maybe again, maybe not back in the 1930s, but um, current day, if you have any like misdemeanor with domestic violence, cannot own a firearm. If you have a history of mental illness, can't own a firearm. And even though it is the National Firearms Act, they also put this item specifically, which is a suppressor, on the act, even though it is not a firearm. It does not fit the description of a firearm, so we're going to go over here. This is the definition of a firearm. The definition of a firearm is any weapon, including a starter gun, so you know, the ones for track and field, you shoot up, it shoots a blank, um, that is designed or made readily to convert to expel a projectile by explosive action, so a cartridge shooting projectile out of a barrel, that's a firearm. Uh, a crude example of this would be something like a pipe gun. A pipe gun is just a pipe with a nail, and then stick a shotgun shell in there, and you just hit it together, and it shoots the shotgun shell. That's a very crude firearm. So the firearm is actually um, determined by the framer or the receiver of such weapon, the one that has the serial number on it. All of the parts, or the major parts, do have serial numbers on them, but it's the certain either lower receiver, upper receiver, or frame, lower frame, upper frame of the firearm that is considered the firearm. So, for example, AR-15s, the lower receiver is the part you have to get a background check for, fill out a 4473, which is the just standard background check to purchase a firearm. You know, FBI goes through your stuff, make sure you're eligible to purchase this firearm. Um, yeah, so anything such as firearm, muffler, silencer, destructive device, everything has a serial number on it now. And this is the definition of a suppressor. It doesn't, as you can see, it probably doesn't fit the definition of a firearm because it doesn't expel a projectile. So, firearm silencer or firearm muffler is a device that silences or muffles or diminishes the report of a portable firearm, including the combination of parts that are designed or redesigned. So they have these things now. They're called oil filters or solvent traps. You literally just drill a hole in them, and it's just an illegal suppressor. People are selling them. ATF's trying to shut all that stuff down. So yeah, so that's a firearm. Pretty much or sorry, that's a silencer. Pretty much how a silencer works is it slows down the expanding gases to make the gunshot report a lower amount to, in most cases, save your hearing. That's what people use silencers for. Is they use it for hunting, so they don't have to wear earmuffs, so they can have their hearing to be self-aware of what they're doing, where they are, without having to risk their hearing due to like a loud gunshot if they're hunting with a higher caliber. So these are kind of like the pros for suppressors. There's really not any cons about them. There really are just pros. So suppressors allow you to shoot without hearing protection, slows the expanding gases. This is a really cool picture that I found. They actually used a plexiglass tube around a suppressor so you could see how it works. So there's a baffle system in there, and it's just absorbing and slowing down, trapping all of those expanding gases. And this one's actually in the middle of blowing up. I've actually watched this video. It's by Smarter Every Day. They did a slow mo of this, and it just allows the bullet or allows the gases to slow down so the gases don't exit at a very alarming rate. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.